We welcome you to the Quaker Arrow Show. This is a brand new podcast. I am your host, Nick Green, and I'm followed by our co hosts, Zach Ellett, who is right over here, and the GOAT, Johnathan Stephenson, right next to me over here as well. So let's
Uh,
start off first with Plainfield's wins versus Warren Central, Greenwood, and Southport. As I almost said, Plainfield's win over Sullivan. I am not right now. Zach, let's start with you.
um, I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't get the whole chance to watch a lot of Plainfield basketball. I must have been busy with Sullivan ball since they were on a hot winning streak for a minute.
Yeah. So what do you think about the so what do you think about those games, Jonathan?
Warren was a tough physical team. They really tested us, especially in the paint. You could tell that Warren has a great strength and conditioning
Mm-hmm.
program at their school because those guys were strong. They were athletic. They
Definitely.
That was their biggest that was their biggest indicator. But I think technically we were better than them. Greenwood, I feel like, was probably the most lackluster performance I've seen all year, even the losses.
Yeah.
I didn't really think there was much going. Greenwood was a good team. I feel like we definitely underestimated them, but they weren't hot shooting the ball. They were
Yeah.
turning it over. It wasn't great. But Southport, they definitely rebounded themselves with the win against Southport. Southport wasn't a great team, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the team was on it. They played as a team. They shot the ball well. They passed the ball well. They were creative. I mean, you can't go wrong with a 28-point first quarter, and it could have been way more.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now my takes on it. So what? So what I heard from player Isaac Stead. So so Isaac said that they weren't playing tough and they weren't playing well versus Warren and Greenwood because of no competition. But then I think in the inside job with Coach Weaver,
That goes back to my point where we underestimated them.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But I think in the inside job, like with Coach Weaver, like I think Coach Weaver said something to the team, and when it came to Southport, Plainfield just blew them out of the park. Like it wasn't Southport being
They were
bad,
having fun.
like it was all
No,
Plainfield.
Southport wasn't good. They weren't.
Yeah,
They weren't a very good matchup, and they weren't a very good team. They weren't good, but it was still a lot of fun.
yeah, that's true. And then the second, and
It's
now the
crazy
second,
because Warren team beat
yeah.
that Warren team beat that Southport team by 1 point in the beginning of the year, and we
Oh, I
saw how
forgot
differently
about
we played
that.
against both of those teams.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Shows
Okay.
it was definitely partially a motivational issue on Plainfield's
Mm-hmm.
end, and I get why the Greenwood game went the way it did. We were underestimating them. Definitely thought it was lower
Mm-hmm.
competition, like he said,
Yeah.
and I feel like Greenwood wanted to come. They wanted to get their home crowd right. They wanted to impress their crowd. They wanted to make their crowd proud. Going up against the top five team in the state, they played a great game and they still lost. It really shows how good Plainfield is. But they've
Yeah.
all in term for the sectional, when it's time for the sectional, they got to stay motivated. They got to
Yes.
stay focused. They can
Yes.
easily win
I
it.
agree. Okay, now it's time for Sullivan's games versus North Central and Linton. Now, I will probably not be talking because I have no clue what is going on, like except during the Linton game, because of course I watched some of that. Zach, let's get your take on both games.
Now, North Central, we it's basically the same as Plainfield and Greenwood, but we underestimated them,
Mm-hmm.
and they surprisingly put up 60 points against us, and we put up like 97 against them.
Yeah,
So
I saw
we
that.
definitely underestimated them.
Yeah, definitely. And now, Jonathan, did you see anything like, or did you review anything from North Central that game?
I did review North Central's stat line. They're young. They're a very young team. They'll probably be somewhat decent in 1A coming up in a
Mm-hmm.
couple years. They were young, and it seemed like during that game, from what I gathered, it seemed like Sullivan definitely picked up the pace, and it was a fast-paced game, scoring 90 at all in a high school game, you're picking up the pace. You're going fast. So I get why North Central had 60 points. They had a lot more possessions.
Yeah, definitely. And now, what's your take on the Linton game, Zach?
Linton is a weaker opponent than Sullivan, but they did get the win on Friday night, and I don't blame the Golden Arrows for the loss. I don't blame the Linton Miners for being a super great team. I don't blame the Golden Arrows for regressing. I mean, I just blame the referees, man. They were the ones who kind of fixed the game a little bit on Sullivan's senior night, specifically my senior night.
Yeah. And now, what do you have to say about that, Jonathan?
I looked at the stat line for the Sullivan game. I think based on what I watched of Sullivan this year, Bach's your best big player on your team. And I saw that
or Brian.
he had half the shots. Yeah, Brian had a great game. He had 24 points from what I saw, but Bach only had 10. He only had half as many shots as and it's not a slight on him, but Ridgway. I think Bach is a better player. I do, and it's not a slight. I think Ridgway is a good player, but Bach's your senior. That's your focal point for a big man, and the fact that he had half as many shots as Ridgway did, I feel like that's what kind of did it in for the Arrows.
Yeah.
But if you focus out around Bach more, I think so you get him in that second player.
Yeah.
Or second game. I think that Sullivan would beat Linton, especially with there being a different atmosphere, different officiating.
We'll get to the
but
sectional thing later.
I think Sullivan wins a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know this draw is this Sunday. It's exciting.
I cannot wait for that draw. And then
I hope we just get Pike on Tuesday and get him out of the way.
Yeah. And then
match Brown's up with Ben Davis and give Avon the freaking bye. I don't care.
Yeah, that's true. Now, the last part of this section, let's review our time in Sullivan just briefly, because a few weeks ago, me and Johnathan went to Sullivan to see them play and destroy Brown County.
It wasn't close from the start. It wasn't really a competitive game. Brown County had one guy who did a lot. I think Nash Harden could be a good player as probably a second or third option on a good team, but you give him around him. He's definitely a confident player. I'm talking about Brown County's guy, the one with long hair, Harden. He's definitely a confident player. He tried his best to will that team, and he's got some talent, but he didn't really have a lot to work with, unfortunately. And Sullivan kind of exposed every bit of his weakness too. This was basically Nash versus Arrows, and Arrows really took advantage and destroyed it. Multiple dunks, multiple drains from three.
Yeah, definitely.
It wasn't even a close game. But the way I saw Sullivan play, I think they have enough athletic talent to really compete in 2A. Those guys can flat out play.
That is exactly what I was going to say. That if you had to pick an underdog team, like in 2A, like in 2A South, that team is definitely Sullivan. Like they kept up with Northview. Like they kept
Sullivan
up
would be one I picked. They've got some talent.
Yeah,
a lot of talent. Brian and Bach are your top two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and recently we went over to Bloomfield and beat them by 1 point at the Glove.
Yeah. So now let's do section number 2.
After they lost by 10 early in the year, you see Sullivan got it together, got their shit together and did it.
Yeah. And now let's do section number 2, the previews. Previewing Plainfield's game versus Franklin. That's going to be an interesting one because it depends on if Plainfield plays undisciplined or not. If Plainfield plays unmotivated or undisciplined, then Franklin will keep it close, but I still think Plainfield's gonna dominate that game, because we saw Franklin have issues with Decatur Central, losing by 30, losing to Perry Meridian last week. and having issues with Mooresville in the first half. And
Prairie Meridian ain't been bad lately.
I honestly, I am shocked because at the beginning of the season, they weren't good. But as the season went on, they killed Greenwood, they destroyed Franklin, and they just beat Columbus North. I mean, I have to
Yes,
say that
Columbus
was
North
one of
team
the
that took
shocking
Carmel to
wins.
overtime. Columbus North team that took Carmel to overtime lost to Perry by 16 points. Crazy how this sport works.
Yeah. Indiana high
But
school
as for my
basketball is
thoughts on our game
crazy.
against as for my thoughts on the game against Franklin, I think that Franklin is balanced and they're bigger.
Yes.
They're kind of like Greenwood.
Mhm.
Definitely not as good, but they're
No.
definitely like Greenwood in the way they're formatted. They're big and they're balanced. They don't really have anybody that really stands out with leading scorers.
Yeah.
I do think this game comes to how disciplined and how well Plainfield plays. If they come in unmotivated, I'd expect about a 10-point game. If they come in motivated, we probably put a running clock on them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Zach, how do you feel about it?
I think you guys will do great in the last week of basketball before sectionals. I think you guys will do great.
Yeah. And then the next part is
Got
let's
to get it together
preview
towards
Sullivan's
section.
next game.
Our next game is tomorrow at Cloverdale, and then next week we host South Vermilion for our last home game at Sullivan, and then we go to North Davies on
South
Thursday.
Vermilion blows. You'll beat them by 80.
Yeah.
Me too. South Vermilion's so bad. They're so bad. Coach Moore will put me in.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean,
we'll have to go down to freaking Sullivan if you're coming in.
Yeah. See, I would like to see that happen, but again,
I ain't missing that though.
yeah, no.
I
And
mean,
then,
it's least likely going to happen, but might
yeah,
as well.
yeah, and then the
Honestly, yeah, might as well.
uh,
I think Brown County is better than South Vermilion.
oh yeah, definitely. But yeah,
Mhm.
then the next part of it is too that yeah. So you said that like that next week, uh, like so you said that next week that Sullivan has an easy game. Plainfield has a very easy game. Like we play Danville, and from my
Danville's been
earlier
getting better, but they still don't have a chance.
no, but from my earlier podcast too, like from what I heard from one of the officials, that he said that just last week Danville just scheduled Irvington Prep. When I heard that, I laughed and I was like, if you want to beat Plainfield, do not schedule Irvington Prep. Schedule a good team.
I think Danville beat Irvington Prep, but Irvington Prep's obviously a team with athletes. They got athletes.
Yeah.
They kind of like math and science. Math and science had athletes, but math and science couldn't keep up with Danville for 4
No.
quarters. But math and science, they had athletes. I watched start of the game. They had athletes. They did.
Yeah.
They're just raw basketball players, raw
Yeah.
athletes. They weren't a great 1A team. Don't get me wrong. They didn't really play as a team very well, but they were actually all right. They were athletic. They were big,
Yeah.
especially for a 1A school, math and science.
Well,
But as for my thoughts on Sullivan and Cloverdale,
so
Ish Kitika is the guy you got to.
so before you do talk, Jonathan, so we have 10 minutes left in this thing. So we need to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah,
But which is fine. Hang on a second.
but I'm just gonna leave a thought out there. Ish Kitika is your guy you got to watch out for.
Mhm.
6'10", he can play at the
Definitely.
rim. He'll get some easy points. He will.
Yeah.
But you stop their guards, you'll beat Cloverdale.
Yeah.
He still doesn't have very much touch at the rim. He'll miss some layups. He will. It's inevitable. Especially if you get Bach or Ridgeway on him or both. He'll miss. He'll miss.
Yeah.
I think Sullivan wins that game. Christian is better than all their guards. Him alone is better than all their guards combined, out of what I've seen out of Cloverdale. We went to a game, but continue.
And now the last part of this is a special announcement from me and potentially Cap. This weekend, I will be trying out Streamlabs and potentially a sectional draw live reaction stream from me and Cap Ellett,
Let's
both of
go.
us streaming together on YouTube. That I can't wait for
Alrighty.
it,
Let's go.
and I'm definitely ready for Sunday, folks.
Me too.
That has done it for this. That has done it for this week's first ever episode of the Quaker Arrow Show. Thank you for watching, and see me and Cap next time. And Jonathan, thank you for joining, and we will see you the next time you join, like
Always, brother.
whenever that will be.